Hello everyone and welcome to episode 34 of the Spawn Point podcast. Of course, my name is Matt and joining me as always is Andy.
Hello.
Now, you may have noticed already that Ebby isn't with us this week, and that's because she's currently not available, so it will be just me and Andy for the next couple of weeks, I believe. Looking to you for confirmation.
Right.
So I was like,
so, are we going to go anywhere? Like, obviously not today. No, Ebby is otherwise engaged in anime-related stuff.
Yep, but we do have some things to talk about this week. Mostly Nintendo. If you don't really like any Nintendo products and you're a Sony fanboy or Xbox fanboy, then probably not going to enjoy the next 30 minutes discussion because it won't be relevant to you. But anyway.
So just click that like button and just
click the like button and leave. We still want your like, obviously. Of course, this episode of the podcast is sponsored by Virtual Gladiators. You can get 10% off all Minecraft servers with them when you use the code VECTRA. So, Andy, today, the first thing we're going to talk about is Super Smash Bros. They've got a ballot now, so you can vote for what characters you want to see in the game, and that can be any characters. And then we're going to go on to talk about Nintendo Direct that happened last week and just sort of summarize that, give our thoughts and talk about what we liked, maybe some things that we liked to probably have seen or didn't like, that was mentioned. So, I guess the first question is, what do you think of this ballot, of voting and choosing? Do you think that they're going the right way about it, or do you think they should have had a different system? Because some people have said that there's a lot of people misusing, and I have seen it on Twitter, there's a lot of people putting like joke submissions, and some people are saying they should have done a thing where you could vote and they put names out, but I don't know what you think of that.
I think they should have probably voted, although I guess with this way it might actually throw up some options that I haven't considered.
Yeah. Like if people are going, oh, we really want to see this character, and then they go, oh, maybe we should make this. But do you think Nintendo, how much an influence do you think Nintendo's this is gonna have over Nintendo actually picking a character from there and go, well, 50% or 40% of people are actually saying, please, this person, because you can actually put a reason, and the reason might just be, well, I like that character. Like if on Nintendo Direct, their example was Cat Mario, and on the reason it said Meow Meow Mario as the reason. So I don't know if their expectations are that high for
They've set the bar really high, obviously.
So I don't think you're going to have to put an essay going, oh yeah,
The reason I would like this character is because when I was born on July 12th, 1953, etc.
Yeah. But do you think it's going to have a big influence?
Yeah, I think it is. Well, actually, I say I think it is. No, I don't, actually.
You don't?
Maybe if someone puts a really good sort of thing, I want this character because of X, Y, and Z, they might go, yeah, that's a really cool response, put it up on the website somewhere, and then just go, but we're not going to do your character, bitch.
The interesting thing, actually, is that it's got a thing where, I think on the ballot, it actually asks for your age and your gender as well, I believe.
Yeah, that's really strange.
Which I think is a bit weird, because it's like, oh, well, it's a 60-year-old female. Well, that's not our target audience, so we don't need to bother about that. Like, I don't feel like that's a bit irrelevant, those details. It should be, I get, you're going to want to know what character, what games have they appeared in, what's your reason? Maybe you want to know names so that you can keep a track of, well, I don't even know if you need a name.
I guess they might just be trying to find out their demographic for the game. Although, to be fair, not to be fair, but whenever you buy a Nintendo game and register it, for with them, the way you used to get all the stars for Club Nintendo is you used to have to go in there. It's like, who are you? Are you a?
Oh, they have a survey, don't they?
Yeah, a survey you have to answer all the questions for. And then, stupidly, I think we mentioned this before. I can't remember if it was on here, if it was just in general chat. But it says, how many people are going to play this? And when you put 1, and it says, who's going to play this out of the people that you've mentioned? Well, obviously me. I'm not going to just let my cat play it or something.
Or Cat
not
Mario.
touch it. Stupid. But yeah, I guess it's going to be like for a demographic, another way of them capturing demographics. Although not necessarily like you don't need to own the game to vote, really though.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you could be anybody at me. This is a good thing because it's so open and free. You can choose anybody, your voice can get heard, and you can say exactly why they should be in there. But on the other side, there's no kind of proof that your submissions are just trolls or they're, you know, they could just be anybody just trying to like wind Nintendo up, or they could just have like hate messages. Oh, Nintendo sucks. Oh, you know, but like, so they could.
I'm sure they will.
They must have got a lot of submissions that are just terrible.
Like, I mean, I wonder how they're going to do it. Is it just going to be a program that's going to sift through and just be like, okay, 300 people have voted for this character, and then it just gives them little bar graphs, and then that's the way it does it? Or if someone's actually going to sit there and just go click, okay, click,
Yeah.
and just go through it. I imagine it's going to be the first choice.
It'd be a lot more efficient, yeah.
Mm.
I mean, the other thing that I haven't really mentioned about yet is that on the date of Nintendo Direct, after they revealed this ballot and people started tweeting at like people like Phil Spencer from Xbox, who's like the boss, the CEO at this current point in time. You know, they're tweeting people saying, "Oh, we'd like to have this game. Would you allow it? Would you allow it?" And then he said for Banjo-Kazooie that they would be fine. They would be fine with that. I imagine he's speaking on their behalf. He's saying, "Yeah," you know, he's not saying, "Yeah, everyone 100% is."
We've got it written down right here on paper.
So he said, "Yeah, we're absolutely fine with them doing that. We've worked with Nintendo in the past on things, so they would be okay with that." So basically, they were saying that the offer's on the table. If they want to incorporate that, they'd be okay with that. The fact is of whether Nintendo will seize that opportunity and go, well, this is quite rare. I didn't think that because some people were quite shocked by saying, I didn't think that they would allow that. But then, as we were saying before recording, it benefits to both sides. It benefits Nintendo to promote their game, you know, to promote Super Smash, and it also promotes the character that the game is from, which if Microsoft are selling that, you know, making more games on that IP, then having it in Super Smash, they go, oh, well, that's cool, where's that character from? And then they'll go and check it out. Or people who play those games will go, oh, that character's in that game, maybe I'll try out, maybe I'll buy a Wii U, maybe I'll try that game out. It'd be a bit weird to buy Wii U purely just for a character in Super Smash, but, you know, yeah, some people are like that, you know?
Some people really want to play their characters in Super Smash Bros. Maybe? I don't know. I don't see it going to be. I don't see it. I can't English say, can I? I don't see it's going to sell systems like, oh, because my favourite character's in that game, I need to buy a Wii U and that game.
Yeah. Although the Mewtwo DLC is £3.59 for just Mewtwo, which I think is insane. Like as a price tag.
Yeah, I mean, I can get it free, so I don't really care.
Oh, is that a Club Nintendo thing?
No, it's because I've got the game for 3DS as well, so you get it free.
Oh, well, I guess you have spent like 40 odd pounds, haven't you?
Yeah, I guess so. But you know, that's the thing. Like, would you consider paying for a character? Like,
I see. This is the thing. As some people, stop it, phone, stop vibrating. What? Okay, distractions out of the way. So as some people might not know, I did tweet about it, but I've got a Wii U now. I finally gave in to the dark side.
Peer pressure.
So I have got a Wii U now, and I've got Mario Kart. I've been playing a bit of Mario Kart with Andy. And I bought the DLC for that, which is, I got the thing where you pre-order the second pack and you get a slight discount. So it's £5.50 for each pack, and each pack you get, 3 characters? 3 characters.
8 new maps and 3 new cars, I want to say.
Yeah, I think it's 4.
Is it 4?
But think about that. That's £5.50. Now, I don't believe you get any extra maps with this Mewtwo DLC. I can't imagine you do. It looks like from Nintendo's website that you literally pay £3.59, £2 less than the Mario Kart DLC, and you're getting that one character, and that's it.
Yeah.
The Mewtwo maybe come in different skins or colour palettes, but other than that, that's it. You're paying. I don't think I would, because I don't feel like I'm getting my money's worth. I feel like when I spent £5.50 on a Mario Kart DLC, getting all that stuff, and each circuit of Mario Kart, those 8, the first one they've announced, they've already said that, it's quite different because it changes season depending. Like every time you race, it could be like winter or summer or spring or fall, depending on each time. It's random, I think. So there's a difference between each track as well. It's not just like a copy and paste of another one. So I feel like that's really good money's worth, but with the Mewtwo stuff, I don't really.
Yeah, and especially like the fact they've got Lucas from Mother 3 as like another character, and like if I'm right, that the game was only released in Japan, so it seems really weird that they've decided to release him as like a character and it's in Japan only.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird because, not saying that, who cares about Lucas, but in a way I'm kind of saying that for people who aren't in Japan, because, the rest of us who haven't really, if it's hard enough as it is trying to buy Wii U games in the store regularly, just even ones that are, available here and are, the most popular titles. Even getting a Wii U's, difficult. Even getting a Wii U Pro controller is difficult. I had to go to 3 different shops and ask if they had one, and they're like, we haven't had any for like a year. So, with that being said, it's a very small chance that people are going to recognise that character. So it's a little bit odd that they would reveal that. I haven't revealed the price for Lucas, actually, just Mewtwo.
Actually, it might have come to the West.
They've said that Lucas is going to be out in June. Mewtwo's going to be out like the 28th or the 23rd of April, I think.
28th of April, yeah.
28th. But yeah, do you think that it's another thing? So Microsoft has said, okay, Banjo-Kazooie, yeah, that's, we're okay with you doing that. Do you think Sony would also do something similar and say, okay, you can use that? Like, does Sony they don't own the IP for Solid Snake, do they? Like, they don't own the rights.
No, that's Konami.
Because that wouldn't make sense, because Metal Gear Solid's coming out on Xbox One as well, so.
Metal Gear was a PlayStation exclusive until.
But did they used to own the rights, or?
I'm not sure if they used to own the rights, but it was definitely 1 and 2 were on PS or PlayStation until they released Substance, which was like this sort of Metal Gear 2 add-on thing. The original came out on PC as well, and then Twin Snakes, which is the Metal Gear remake, came out on GameCube.
Yeah.
So it was kind of exclusive for a bit, but not long.
What you also have to remember, and I actually have it on PS3, although I didn't really play much of it, PlayStation revealed their own type of Super Smash game called All Stars Battle Royale. Very similar. Actually. And that's basically is the Sony alternative to Super Smash. It's got people like, I think it's got Nathan Drake from Uncharted. I think it's got Jack and Daxter. It's got all the Naughty Dog characters. I think it's got just all of the ones that Sony own the rights to. Kind of their characters are in there.
So that was a PS3 game though, wasn't it?
Yeah. And it was on PS Vita as well.
Yeah.
So the thing is, if they got that game and they don't want to go, do we really want to take our characters from that and then make them? Because the only way you can play those characters in that type of setting, in that type of game, is by buying that game. They would kind of weaken their sales by taking characters from that and putting them in Super Smash, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on whether they're going to release another one, and I'm not sure how well that one did compared to Smash Bros, to be honest.
But I mean, Super Smash is a lot more recognisable and a lot more popular, and it was their first, and the characters are a lot more bigger, because, everyone knows who Mario is, everyone knows who Luigi is, everyone knows who Sonic is, all these recognizable characters. With some of the, like, PlayStation ones or Naughty Dog people, they're not as recognizable. To some people they are, but not as wide of an audience. But
yeah, I mean, like, there was sort of a never say never comment made in 2013 in the E3 for a sequel, but so it's not saying, yeah, there is definitely going to be one, or it's, it's up in the air. So I guess, like, with that respect, they probably wouldn't want to get, like, their exclusive, like, characters in something that Nintendo does. Just, yeah, like you said, it's going to weaken their stance.
With that being said, though, do you think, what do you think, what characters do you think should be in Super Smash? Now that we can vote and we can say what we want in there, Sony, it could be any game, any IP, any franchise, anything video game related that you think should be in there, even if it makes sense or not, or you think it would just ruin the game, or just what would you think would be pretty cool to see, like, in terms of new characters?
See, I was thinking earlier, and I was like, wouldn't the Xenomorph from Aliens be really cool to be a character in it?
That'd be crazy. I feel like that would look like the elephant. Let's address the elephant in the room.
Because, it's got like a tail, so it's got sort of that, it can do a bit of a whiff around.
It's Smash Attack can be.
And I feel like it could potentially be a decent character. It can, like, there's some in Smash Bros that can do, like, wall clings for a bit, so that the Xenomorph would be able to do that.
How family friendly would it be, though? Because Alien Isolation wasn't 18.
Yeah, but they could just make it, I don't know, give it a tiara or something to make it look a bit cute.
Just imagine, so everyone listening, just imagine Xenomorph with a tiara. It's harmless. It's fun for the family. If you've got anything, it's like, oh, God of War. Okay, let's just put a tiara on him. He'll be okay.
It's fine. It's how Disney does it. God. And another one, I have just gone a bit crazy with this. Metal Gear.
Metal Gear.
A tiny one. Metal Gear. A tiny Metal Gear might be quite cool. Although...
Well, they already got Solid Snake in the Wii U version.
No, they haven't.
I think it wasn't a previous one, I think. Might have been the GameCube one.
Not in the Wii U version. Like, I know Raiden was in All Stars. But again, he'd be quite a cool character. And also maybe Crash Bandicoot. But again, that kind of...
Naughty Dog. I don't know who owns the... I feel like Sony would be very protective over... Crash Bandicoot's one of the most recognisable of, like, especially platformers when you think of...
That is never going to happen.
Is there any other ones that you picked, or is that...
I had a sort of similar thought to you, with Knuckles. Because Knuckles would make a good character as well. Especially, I don't know if you had a bit of the gliding as well, being able to put that in. I don't know what his range attacks would be, though.
I don't know. The only reason I was thinking Knuckles is I've always been more of a fan, like, when I was a small kid, I was always more of a fan of Knuckles than I was Sonic.
Really? Why?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was like, society wants me to like Sonic because he's the main guy. Well, I'm going to be rebellious and, like, I don't know. I always liked Knuckles and Tails. I thought they were more... I think Knuckles just looked cooler than Sonic, really.
What character was Knuckles actually meant to be? Was this...
The one that's got, like... What you mean is in what does it look like? Which character is...
As in, what is it?
Oh, right.
Apparently it's something... What? I can't even pronounce that. Echidna. Enchidana.
Okay, well.
There you go, you learn something new every day.
It's a learning hour. So, so you got Crash Bandicoot, Knuckles, Solid Snake, Mini
Metal Gear.
Mini Metal Gear. and Xenomorph with a tiara.
Come on, a Xenomorph with a tiara.
Everyone put that on the ballot. Make sure to put tiara, otherwise it won't get accepted.
Please someone make a picture of that. That'd be awesome.
My picks are I've got Jak and Daxter, which is a Naughty Dog one. Don't think that would ever. That's also an All Stars Battle Royale. Probably would never happen, but it'd be pretty cool because Jak has an attack. His basic attack could be swinging Daxter around, like it's just hitting him. Yeah. And he's got quite a few crazy moves in the previous games had for like PS2. Like he used to have like a slam attack where he just used Daxter as a weapon. So it'd be pretty cool to see him just flinging him around and hitting people in the process. I think Ratchet and Clank and when I say Jak and Daxter, I don't mean separate, I mean just they come as a pack. And same Ratchet and Clank, or just, they have cool gadgets and stuff that they use in the games.
So would they I don't know, because you're saying they come as a pack together, so would both of the characters be on the screen at the same time, or would
So Daxter would just, like in the Jak and Daxter game, or like the original game, Daxter would always be on your back.
Just hiding on his back.
You would just control Jak and you'd be running around, and then for attacks he would just be used.
He'd come off, right.
He would just be like a human shield, although he wasn't human. He was human, but he got turned into a monkey type thing. But anyway, so yeah, in the game, you would just be controlling Jak basically, but you would use Daxter as an attack. That'd be. I've got Ratchet and Clank, because in those games, they always have these cool weapons and gadgets that they use, and that could set up for some quite good moves. Could be quite creative with that. I got Super Meat Boy because I think it would be quite funny just to see when you're running along, see all the bloods on the ground just splatting along, because there was actually a picture.
Again, family friendly.
Oh, don't worry, Andy. We'll put a little a tiara
on jam. It's
jam.
Strawberry jam.
We'll put like little pearls in the. We'll say spaghetti bolognese. This is a weird one, but I saw a comment on YouTube. I thought it was brilliant. Psyduck from Pokemon. He could confuse his enemies. And himself in the process.
If you're going by that, you can have Magikarp. Worst character ever. Just sort of flounders about.
And my final one is Tails, because, in terms of, when like hovering or whatever, or when he can use his tails to spin.
Cool.
Yeah,
okay.
That would be my pick. That would be. So just spaghetti bolognese and tiara. If you're just worried about age-friendly ones, just pretend it's not what it is. I think you'll be fine.
I mean, put in the comment sections what you'd want to see as well.
Yeah, definitely. And also tell us what attacks you think they'd have, or why you'd like to see them in there. All that kind of stuff.
I guess Dr. Robotnik might be a good one as well.
Ah, yeah. I just think in general, I mean, people feel free to disagree. Feel free to agree as well, but feel free to disagree.
Feel free to agree and tell me how good they are.
How amazing, yeah. No, but feel free to disagree with this, but I think that there's not enough characters from the Sonic universe in Super Smash. You've got Sonic, and I think that's it. So it'd be quite cool to introduce some more characters there. But let's move on to our second topic, which is more of an overall thing, the Nintendo Direct. So there was a lot of people thought it was going to be April Fool's because it was poorly timed to be on the 1st of April, and everyone's like, oh, this is going to be... And they even had to put on the Nintendo Direct screen, we can assure you this is not a joke. And people still thought it was. Some people were still convinced that it was going to be some elaborate prank. But it wasn't. And there was quite a lot, so I'm going to try and do a brief rundown. Got a list here, so I don't forget all the things. Because I've realised that on the news, somebody commented that you completely went and skipped one of the games mentioned.
Yeah,
the crossover. But yeah,
crossover of Fire Emblem.
So you got Mario Maker, which is we already knew about. That's going to launch exclusively on Wii U this September. And you'll be able to go from like different iterations of the games up until like the 3DS Super Mario Bros.
It's the original one, Mario 3,
and then there's
Mario
like the Wii U.
World, and then new Super Mario, if I'm right.
Yeah. There's also Splatoon, they mentioned the online mode Turf War. Basically, there's like these splat zones, and you fight over a specific area, and then depending on how much of your paint is on that area, you will take control of the entire thing. So you have to get the majority of that section. There's also ranked battle. There's going to be ranked battle mode, so people actually have, can prove how good they are. And I don't know how the ranking system will work or how it'll be.
No, it'd be interesting to see that. I mean, Splatoon, we both played at EGX last year, and that was one of the games that I actually really enjoyed playing.
I think even Steve, who isn't really, that crazy for Nintendo, he said he enjoyed it. So I feel like that's good because it's people who like Nintendo products seem to want this game and seem to be excited for the game, and those who've played it seem to have enjoyed it. And even those who don't seem to have enjoyed it when they first try it out. It's like one of those games where it's like if you introduce somebody to the Wii U and said, okay, I know you might think the Wii U's not that great, but here, try this game. What is it? It's Splatoon, and they have a lot of fun.
Yeah, the one thing I'm just worried about is is there going to be much fatigue in it with the fact, like, it depends how many game modes they have. Excuse me. And like how sort of the metagame increases around it. Like, if it is just going to be the exactly same thing, sort of Turf War style stuff over and over again, maybe you're fatiguing it. And I don't know. It's hopefully going to be a good game. We'll probably check it out, although maybe not do something on the channel because Nintendo. Yeah,
we'll see. We'll figure out a way to get around it.
Might be something to stream one time.
Yeah, we'll find a way, Nintendo. So the other mode, actually, there's one more mode, Splatoon. It's Battle Dojo, which is like a local co-op one where one of you essentially uses the gamepad as the screen and you control it, and the other person, I guess ideally would use like a pro controller or another gamepad, and they'd use the TV screen. So you've got your own separate screens, which is good because I don't like split screen games very often because you're just getting half the screen and you have to see what the other player's doing. It can get a bit distracting. Especially when they do I hate the split screen, which is right down the middle. It's like a vertical split screen. I like the horizontal more. Because if you have a really small TV, it can squash it and you're like, I can't see.
Wait, hang on.
You know the one where you have
it being like
side by side?
No, I don't. I prefer up and down.
I guess it depends how big the TV screen is. I've played on split screen on some people's TVs or monitors, and they're so small, so it's like I can't see. So
I guess with like modern day TVs, there's more real estate to play with.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I thought that when I first tried out the gamepad, I was like, it's going to be really good for local co-op because people can have their own separate screens. Because it's so much better to have your own screen and not have to worry about, be distracted what the other person's doing. I mean, you could still screen sheet, but I don't know how.
What do you spot?
Look up on the TV screen.
So no,
the person who's playing on TV is going to have a bit of a disadvantage because it's hard to kind of go with the gamepad. You can go, but with the TV you can't go. Unless you
cover up part of the TV,
or you decide to go in different rooms and you go. Am I beating you yet? Through the wall?
Yeah. That sort of just ruins the whole sofa experience, doesn't it?
Yeah. But there is that factor of, it being a bit of a disadvantage. It depends how competitive you are, really. If you're going to use that as an excuse. But I'll press on. There's also Yoshi's Woolly World. That's going to launch on the 26th of June. They revealed a mellow mode, which is basically a really easy mode where you have wings and you can actually fly up and down. So you can switch between, if you pause the game, you can switch between the classic mode, which is just the regular way you play, and this mellow mode where they said any players of any skill level can play it, and it's very kind of
Yoshi gets out a spliff and
gets high,
gets high, gets mellow, man.
Yeah, man. There's also going to be a bundle consisting of a copy of the game, and you can get a green yarn. So you get an amiibo, but it's actually made out of yarn instead of plastic, just to fit with the theme of the game. And you get green, Pink, I think, is one. Is like light blue as well.
Pink and blue, yeah.
Yeah.
They are just going to go just instantly.
And
if
they'll be
there's
sold
like any
for
other
like
amiibos.
£200 or something online. Fatal Frame, that's coming to Europe late this year, apparently.
Fatal Frame.
Mario Kart 8, there was a couple of things. There was 200cc mode was announced, which is the first time in Mario Kart series. There was Animal Crossing DLC details that were revealed. So they showed off that there was a map, we said earlier on in the podcast, about it changes season every time you race on it. And they also pushed the release date from May to April the 23rd. So it's actually going to come out sooner.
See, now, I know you rewatched the Nintendo Direct. Did they say it's going to change, like, with every season, or it's going to change every time you do it, but is the map going to change? Did they?
It seems more like the environment around you more than it's like aesthetically, not like physically. Like the trees will have, if it's autumn, I guess the trees won't have any leaves on them. If it's winter, there'll be snow around everywhere. It's just more of a thing to keep the look of it a bit different and fresh, and to give you the feeling you've got 4 different maps instead of 1. In a way.
I mean, I wonder if they're going to like change the surface or anything, like the winter mode. Are they going to make it like an icy surface?
Well,
so
it'd be cool
it
if
handles slightly differently to like maybe the summer season where it's all, I don't know, dusty, or maybe the autumn season it's a bit wet and there's stuff underwater. And
but I think even cooler is if you've got the summer, you've got wet puddles from when it was raining previously. And then if it's winter, those puddles are now frozen ice, so you could skid off and lose control. You've got to avoid them.
That could be like the spring mode, and the summer's completely dry. The spring's got little spots of water, and then like it's got the ice. That would be cool. Nintendo do that.
Hopefully they go the full 9 yards with it. There was also there's going to be some Nintendo 64 and DS games. They're available now on the Virtual Console for the Wii U. So you can get Super Mario 64, Donkey Kong 64, WarioWare Touched for the DS, and Mario Kart DS. So that's 2 Nintendo 64 games, 2 Nintendo DS games. And apparently if you buy 3, you get the 4th one free. Although it's not really, obviously you'd have to like all 4 of those games. Don't just buy 3 because you're getting a free one. That's the Black Friday syndrome of like, oh, I'm getting a bargain, so I better spend more money. But it's not really much choice, but that's something I'll sort of cover.
Yeah, it's nice that they're selling us back our old games so that we can play them again.
Rather than backwards compatibility. But anyway.
Well, it'd be really
cartridge
to make a N64 game backwards compatible with the Wii U.
Yeah, that's true. Also, not mentioning the news, I'm not going to get caught out with this comment. Was it I'm going to butcher this name. Shin Megami Tensei and Fire Emblem crossover.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't think they talked about that game at all. Definitely wasn't in Nintendo Direct.
So basically, this is an RPG that this everyday life consists of. There's a secret world of fantasy as well, and there's also characters in Fire Emblem, which is why there's the crossover. And wouldn't make sense without characters. So that's for the Wii U. And then there was 3DS was talked about as well. So there was Fire Emblem. There's a Fire Emblem 3DS game, which is a working title. It's not going to be called Fire Emblem, like just Fire Emblem. So for the first time, the main player character is the main hero or heroine of the game. There's 2 major paths you can take, and each of them got different experiences. There's the Hoshido side. I really hope I'm pronouncing these things correctly. Which is intended for a more traditional feeling, and the Nohr side, Nohr, however you say that, which makes the story more complex and the difficult level is more challenging. There was also a Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer game announced, which is a spin-off from the regular series. Basically, the animals will ask you to design a home for them, and you have to meet the requests, and you furnish and decorate their homes, and that's going to be out sometime this autumn. And 2 more games. There was Box Boy, which was a sort of monochrome puzzle game. It looked quite unique, looked different, quite interesting. So you basically hook blocks round a level or create blocks, and you have to try and get through. I think it's over 150 stages for the game. And it's going to be exclusively available on the 3DS on the Nintendo eShop. Actually, it's already available because at the time of us doing this, it was released on the 2nd of April. So it should be out now. There's also Attack on Titan, Humanity in Chains, which is going to feature 4-player local and online co-op gameplay. There's also going to be there already is. The first 2 episodes of the anime are available for free on the eShop up until June 30th as like a promotional sort of thing to get you in the mood for Attack on Titan. And you basically have to work together to defend the outer walls from the giant titans. So yeah, that is pretty much...
You forgot Affordable Space Adventures.
Oh, okay.
It's one of these sort of things where you can play with friends. So one person has the gamepad, and then people have the pro controllers, and then you can be different members of the crew. So like I think the guy with the gamepad's the engineer, so they can sort of put power to different systems, etc. Or you can play it on your own, and it's sort of a puzzle game.
All right.
But that looks quite interesting. It's actually out now.
Okay.
It looks like.
Yeah, they definitely seem to be keeping in a theme of announcing things that are coming out soon or are coming out at the time I'm talking about them, which is a theme that they're probably going to stick to at E3. They said they're not going to talk about any games coming out in 2016. They're going to focus on the now rather than the future. Which, before we talk about some of the direct stuff, what do you think about Nintendo's approach to focusing more on what's coming out this year rather than the future? Because, a lot of E3 stuff, there's always a lot of announcements of like, coming out in 2 years or coming out in a year. Do you think it's better to kind of say, look, let's focus on what's coming out in the next 4 months or, next few months?
Yeah, I guess it is quite a good thing for them to do because, they announced Zelda Wii U and they're like, yeah, it's definitely going to be out this year, guys. It's not going to be out this year, guys. So I think it's probably wise for them to do that, especially like if they're hyping up stuff and saying all of these things are coming out. And if it's coming out soon as well, people are more likely to remember it, with the exception of some of their bigger things like Zelda. Because obviously people obviously like Zelda games and they're going to be like, oh, when's that going to come out? But if it's a smaller thing and they're like, okay, this is going to be out in the next couple of months, people are more likely to remember it, I feel.
Yeah, if you forget, what was mentioned at last E3? Because that's the problem. If you told me, what was the announcements at E3? I would have remembered back then, like a month after or something. But now I'm like, I can't honestly remember what was really revealed, especially like Xbox and Sony. It's like, I don't know when, what the main things were. I can't really remember all that. I got a vague idea, but if they already come out by now, it'd be fresh, like you said, fresh in my head. After it's finished, I go, right, when can I get that game? I can get that in the next few months. Otherwise, it's like, why are you showing me this game or this teaser trailer just to say it exists? Because I'm, okay, cool, but I don't need to see this trailer because it's not going to be out for another year and a half. So why not talk about it next E3 and save something more recent? Yeah,
and I suppose if like Nintendo they're still struggling, like, let's not lie about this. They're still struggling with the Wii U. And if they can say, this is all the stuff we've got coming along soon, people are more likely to go and get the system maybe, or it's going to be more in their mind. Whereas say like Sony, Microsoft or something, they're like, yeah, next year this is going to come out. They're like, all right, cool. But what's available now? So yeah. I guess it's more useful for Nintendo.
That is true. So on with some of the questions for the Direct. So from everything that was talked about, everything that was mentioned, there was a few things here and there that probably didn't cover, but I was just trying to give a brief summary. So if in the comments you're going to say, guys missed this, then I'm sorry, but there was so much information that I'm just trying to crunch it down into bite-sized chunks and just...
I know we were all on me, Matt, and everyone on Twitter, and I was just like, "Oh my god, there's so much stuff coming up. I can't."
Yeah, we were tweeting to another thing. Okay, then next call.
And then it's like I've just missed something. What have I missed? Oh god!
I think that's the most I've tweeted in a good month. Like that one day made up for a month worth of tweets. It's like, yep. But yeah, so was there anything that, like was announced or any games that were talked about that really stood out for you or that you're looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to Fatal Frame, or as it's like known in the UK, Project Zero. That came out in Japan like September last year, I think it was. And it's finally getting released over here. And, you know, if anyone hasn't actually played the series before, you basically go around. It's a sort of scary game. And there's like ghosts in like the environment that you're in. And the only way to kill them is by taking pictures of them. And obviously to do that, you kind of have to stay stationary and look through the viewfinder with the camera and take pictures that way. And then when you put it down, they sort of kind of disappear a bit. And they're using the Wii U gamepad to actually be the camera. So you'll be holding it up in front of you and then sort of moving it around to move the camera, which I think that's going to be really cool. And, obviously it's been out for a while. So
I'm guessing that you're going to have to have the gamepad, like it requires that. You wouldn't be able to, because it's such an integral part of.
Yeah. Well, I'm not actually sure if there is this sort of mode where you can actually not use the gamepad and just hold it up. It would be stupid for them not to add that in, I guess, as well.
Because you want to appeal to everybody, because some people, I guess you don't want to force people to use the gamepad, because there is a portion of people that use the Pro Controller or the GameCube, well, they use the GameCube controller, but only for Super Smash Bros, because hey, Nintendo, one game. But they use the Pro Controller and the Pro Controller only, because that's their way of playing. And, you know, if people don't want to go, I don't really use the gamepad, I don't want to have to use it if I don't want to. So, because most games are compatible with the Pro Controller as well, it seems. So, I guess it would be silly not to. Was there anything else, though? There was...
Splatoon, we've already really talked about. Mario Maker, I'm kind of on the fence on that one. Like, from what I've heard, when you're actually, like, creating all the levels, original Mario, it's not going to have the same physics as original Mario. It's all going to be the same physics as New Super Mario Brothers. So, so it's going to, because they sort of changed the way that people jump and everything in that. And I don't know whether it's potentially going to be cool, like, especially, if people make really cool levels in it. And there's a lot of sort of stuff that can be done with it. Like something like Little Big Planet I really enjoyed because there's just so much out there and there's people that are so creative.
Yeah, it's like endless content, because if you've got so many people, if the content ends with the community, then it's fueled by the community, as with a lot of community-driven, games with mod support. City Skylines is not relevant to IntelliDirect at all, but it's a good example. It's a good example of how having the community producing a lot of content can make the longevity of that game a lot better, because there's over 30,000 mods for that game, and people are making mods that dramatically improve the gameplay or change things up. There's somebody working on like a UFO invasion mod. And, people are working and making content, not because it's their job, but because they love the game. And so that passion is put into the content, and then you get to, and everybody wins, because then you can make stuff. And if you're not a maker and you don't like to make levels, you can just play other people's ones. And the only thing I'm thinking of is this going to make future Mario platformer games redundant, because everyone can go, well, why would I get a new Super Mario game that's a side-scrolling platformer when I can just play Mario Maker and someone can make that level for me?
So I guess it depends on like how much you can make and how much of a spanning world you can make. But it could potentially, yeah. Although, like the recent Mario games, they've all been multiplayer. So there's nothing been like the traditional sort of Mario 1, 2, 3, etc. There's nothing.
So Mario Maker won't have multiplayer, is that?
Not citation needed on that one. I have to check on that. I think you probably can. I'm not 100%, so we'll check. We'll come back to it. I find it.
But yeah.
I think they're the main ones that I was kind of excited about.
There is one I want to bring up that I briefly sort of talked to you about, or told you about, which was Adventures of Pip, which I never realised. I checked out a Kickstarter for it a while back, and I think one of their stretch goals was to have it on Wii U, and I think they must have reached that because it's going to be on PC and Mac, and it is going to be available on them. But it's also going to be available on Wii U. So the only console that will be available on, interestingly enough, is the Wii U. So it won't be on Xbox, it won't be on PlayStation. The only way you can have this is if you have PC or the Wii U. And it's quite interesting because you kind of like, if my information is correct, you start off as literally like one square pixel, and you go through the levels, and as you go through them, you evolve, and you go into like an 8-bit character to 16-bit to 32-bit, and as you evolve, I think it's kind of relevant with like the, just in that time frame of what you could do in games. So as you get a better high fidelity character, you you start to have more features like wall jump, where, wall jump wasn't always something that existed. It was introduced later on in the timeline. So as your character looks better, you get more features and cool stuff you can do, just like in gaming in real life, where more features got introduced, with later iterations of games. And you also get better weapons, you get different weapons as you evolve as well. So it looks like quite an interesting take on a platformer, because usually it's like you're the same character, you don't really change much in appearance or what you can do. But this is kind of reminiscent of Ori and the Blind Forest, where you unlock abilities and you become stronger as you go along. You don't have everything unlocked straight away. And I like that because it's a sense of progression. So I might actually check that out. It's going to be on the eShop, only for Wii U. It's not going to be on 3DS. So you won't be able to go in a store and buy it.
Speaking of stuff where you sort of gain abilities, did you ever play Evoland?
No, I heard of it. It's on Steam, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's not really a game in its truest sense. Like, it's sort of what is it? It's them just going, oh yeah, this is how games have evolved. So there are sort of, there's not really a start, middle, end. There's not a decent story in it. It just sort of goes to the whole of the ages. So you start off and it's like a black and white game, and it's like, oh, you have the ability left, and you go left, you open the box, like, oh, you've now got right. Yeah. And then it just goes, and it goes through all of the different sort of RPG stuff, and then you eventually end up in like a Diablo style sort of game. It's actually quite cool how they did it. It's worth a look in, but
I have to sort of look into that or check it out. Yeah, like you said, some of the other stuff like Splatoon, Box Boy, we already sort of really covered that. The other thing really was just about Mario Kart is with 200cc. Do you think this is going to be too much or too fast, or do you think it's going to ruin Mario Kart or make it better? What are your thoughts on 200cc coming into the mix?
Well, they said it's going to be a separate game mode available, so like I don't think it's going to ruin Mario Kart. So
yeah, you could just not do it. Yeah,
if you don't like it, you just ignore it. So I think it'll add an interesting new level to the actual game itself, because I know I'm starting to get to the stage, and Ebby's definitely in the stage where every match is just so rage-inducing. Like the amount of points that she's got, almost 10,000.
Actually, yeah. So she's almost at 10,000. You're at 5,200. I want to say. I just recently reached 2,000. So.
Oh really? Oh
yeah.
Cool. Because when Matt got it, we went and played Mario Kart, and I was playing in the game, and obviously like you start at level 1,000, and I was about 5, and I was like, oh my god, this is so easy and boring.
Or even for a lot of them, it was just like me and you in first and second, and it was like nothing's happening, no one's hitting us with anything. Oh, we finished, and then there was like a 20-second wait between last place.
I'm just gonna shall I get a cup of tea, because.
But I do want to say I think I did all right when I jumped into Andy's scoring. I think I coped okay. Like I never came last, like 12th or 11th. The worst I did was 9th, but I was sort of always jumping. I was like between like 4th and 9th. I was just sort of in that range. And I was beating some people that like 6,000, 5,000. There was one guy called Percy from Sweden I just kept on bullying, and I overtook him at last minute.
Massive grudge on Percy. But like, I think it gets to the stage where like pretty much if you make one mistake in like when you're that sort of level, I know there's loads of people higher than that, but like if you make one mistake, that is pretty much you out of the race. There is no chance of getting back to first. And I'm just wondering, like, will 200cc's make it even worse in that respect, or?
Yeah, although I saw a comparison video, and just to put it into perspective, the map Dolphin Shoals, I think it was Dolphin Shoals that showed, at the point of 150cc, when it's halfway across the lap, well, so you're finishing your first lap in 200cc, when in 150cc you're only halfway around the map. That's the comparison. So you're half a lap ahead in terms of speed, roughly. You know, obviously there's going to be some variables about, you know, how much of a boost you get around turns in that comparison video. It's not going to be exactly halfway, but it's going to be around that. So that's quite a big jump.
Maps like Excitebike is just going to be, it's horrible now. It's a horrible map now with everyone just using everything just to kill everyone else. And 200cc, I think it's going to be even worse because
and everyone votes for Excitebike because everyone votes for Excitebike. I've come to realise, and I hate people for it.
I don't know. Kudos to them for adding a new game mode in, and it's definitely going to extend the life even more, especially with the new DLC that they're bringing out, and it's going to give people more options. So, you know,
can I just say, I really hope we get, as with the 200cc, they make another announcement to say we're going to get the baby circuit, where, you know, it's literally like an O, and then you'll finish like 1 lap, 2 lap, 3 lap. Oh, we finished in 10 seconds.
But yeah, people are definitely going to have to raise their skill ladder because you probably will have to brake, they're saying, in the maps.
I don't know how to brake.
At the moment you just press A, do a bit of like sliding, skidding, and you're done.
Yeah. I do think it will change the way that people approach the circuits and the way they treat the corners and how they race. So it's definitely going to mix things up a little bit. And I guess, like you said, if people don't like it, they can always not play it. But then the problem with that is if too many people don't like it, and then there's there's a small percentage of people that do like it, they might struggle to find games of other like-minded people that like it if no one's really playing it. So yeah, that is a problem. If people, because sometimes, you know, a lot of people don't like to embrace change a lot of the time, so they'll go, "Oh, I like the traditional Mario Kart, you know, sucks." But you got to remember, there was a point where Mario Kart didn't have 150cc. I think 150cc was introduced in Double Dash for the GameCube. So before that, you had 100cc, and you know, you didn't have 100 in Mario Kart 64. You didn't have 100cc. It was 50cc only. So it's, you know, they're just adding another one onto that. So it's not like they haven't done something like this before, where they've increased the cc by 50. So it might just take some getting used to.
We need 50 more cc stat, Doctor.
Get 300cc sometime. Yeah, other than that, is there any final thing? Is there anything that wasn't mentioned that you're hoping to hear about, or any of the things that mentioned that sort of disappointed you or annoyed you? Anything like that?
To be honest, I don't think so. I know if Ebby were here, I'm going to put it out for her.
Star Fox.
Stairfax. I know she was really hoping for something to be announced for that, but, you know, it didn't, so suck it, Ebby.
Is that still meant to have a 2015 release date?
Apparently.
Hopefully it doesn't have a Legend of Zelda treatment. Because Ebby would be mortified. I've just got a couple of things, actually. So it's more or less about the Virtual Console thing. It's cool that they're adding the N64 in DS games. But there isn't much choice, and also the fact that Super Mario 64 is £18 on a virtual console for Nintendo
Is it
60.
actually?
£18. I looked it up on the eShop. I was like, what? £18? I'm thinking, it's it doesn't, I'm pretty sure it's going to be the exact same game, just you're controlling it with the gamepad or Pro Controller, It's not.
£18, that is ridiculous. Like, I know they've obviously had to put some time and effort into putting it onto the Wii U.
But it's it's more or less ported over, really, isn't it?
Yeah, but stuff like Mario 3, which, that was like that was about £5.
I'm 95% sure that when I looked at it on the eShop, it was $17.99. You can quickly turn in the gamepad.
I'm gonna check.
While you do that, I'm just gonna talk about the other thing that I wasn't, it wasn't really a negative thing, but it was more just disappointed, was that they said, we're gonna have Pokemon Rumble U or Rumble World, whatever it is, a free-to-play Pokemon game, or you can buy gems, the thing that you tried out. And I was like, I don't want a free-to-play Pokemon game. I really wanted to hear about the next buy-to-play Pokemon game. The next one in the series of like the traditional Pokemon games for the 3DS. That to see what they would do next. Like, are they going to do another remake? Are they going to introduce like Z or to fit in with X and Y, or X2 and Y2, whatever they? Because I know they do the sequels differently now. So I was like, when Pokemon came up, I was like, okay, I'm interested. Oh, it's the free-to-play Pokemon game. Because I've tweeted about this in the past, but most of the time when I hear free-to-play, it comes with negative connotations. Like, I just have a negative sort of approach to it, like, free-to-play. Like, not always, but most of the time I do, and that's just because of the state that the free-to-play industry, I think, is in at this point in time.
I played it for about an hour, and then I was like, oh, now you want me to purchase stuff. So it's like, no, I'm done with you.
When I think of free-to-play now, when I used to think of free-to-play, I was like, oh, that's cool. It's free-to-play. When it was first becoming a thing, I was like, oh, it's pretty cool. I guess obviously you have to make money, so you have to have add-ons. But then now when I think of free-to-play, I think of games like Game of War for the mobile, like, these mobile games that, say, oh, if you want to build, you're going to have to wait 4 hours or give us some money.
I mean,
I don't know.
It wasn't really that. It's just got a Pokemon velour on it. It's pretty much just one of these match 3 games. I mean, they did do it in a bit of a cool way where you match 3 things and then, you match, like, you have different Pokemon in your bag and then you pick them and then when you have to match 3 of those Pokemon, and then it does an attack on the enemy Pokemon, and then you can capture it when it gets down to a low enough level if you have damaged it enough, and if your score's high enough. But that's pretty much the only thing Pokemon related.
I'd also, something that some fans have asked for is, I would really like to see a Wii U Pokemon game. A little bit like on the GameCube, they had like Pokemon Stadium, and had the other one which was Pokemon Colosseum or Colossus or something like that. But people were saying, I want a sequel to Stadium. Oh no, maybe they did have a Stadium too. But they wanted like
I think they did.
But yeah, a Wii U Pokemon game would be pretty cool. A little bit like the Stadium game. And that's it really. Did you manage to check the...
I did. You're a complete and utter liar.
Am I?
Yeah, I'm going to call you out. How much is it? $18.99?
$17.99.
No, BS. $8.99.
Maybe it was one of the DS ones.
They're all £9. They're all $8.99.
What the hell did I look at that was $17.99
I don't know.
then?
Maybe it was a deal and you got more than one of them.
Possibly. Maybe it was bundling them together. I don't know. It was definitely in the virtual console section, but I don't know. My bad then. But that's not too bad then. £9, I guess.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So... yeah, that was only really was like about the free-to-play Pokemon thing was my only real complaint, and just the lack of choice with the Virtual Console that there's only 4 games. It would be nice to have more choice, and it doesn't seem like they're adding new titles on a regular basis. Because I know for the Wii Virtual Console games, they're announcing 2 more games, but that's over the course of like from now to like the end of June or something, so it's not like they're adding a new game every week, or it's not that frequent. So I'm just worried that that'll be the same treatment for the N64 and DS games. It's just there won't be very much choice very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, but I guess it is an extra thing. Like all of these, how many of those games will you actually go out and buy?
I don't know. I quite enjoyed Mario Kart DS, so I might look into that. But I've already got Mario Kart 8, so I don't know.
Yeah, you've got Mario Kart 8. Like you can get Mario Kart 7 for the DS as well, 3DS, and like, would you really want to get that if you got Mario Kart 8? Probably not.
That's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this has been a very long podcast. I just realised I wasn't expecting it to be this long, but then again, there was quite a lot to cover. You know, it was a lot of announcements. But I think that's a good enough sort of take on everything. And once again, I'm sorry if we missed a minor, tiny little thing. It wasn't out of like not caring about it or just disrespect. It was just that it was so much to cover.
Disrespect.
It was, yeah. No. But yeah, as for the Super Smash Brothers characters, let us know what characters you'd like to see, why you'd like to see them, what kind of moves they possibly have, and just what you thought about a Nintendo Direct, I guess. So that has been all for episode 34 of the Spawn Point podcast with me and Andy. Until next time, we will see you later. Good. B.
Good boo.